Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
All right, we're live. L-I-V-E. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our program, and welcome, Miss April D. Garner.
Yes,
and
welcome, Brother Edward. How are you today?
Can I talk about your invitations that you sent out? Or we're just waiting until the end? I forgot to talk to you about it earlier.
Invitation for what? No, we can't talk about that on here.
No, I'm only kidding. Okay. So, how you doing, April?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, good. What's that around your neck?
It's a necklace, number one, but it's something that I wore for Black History Month.
It looks rather Afrocentric. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I asked because it stands out. It stands out.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay.
But guess what? I know it's Women's History Month. A lot of people know that month has been designated that. Probably among other things as this month, but one in particular we wanted to focus on, and we got somebody who can kind of enlighten us about some positive things from an educational arena. And if everybody saw the promotion, we're having some. To me, this is accomplishments and some things I didn't know. As a person, I didn't know that it existed for 18 years as a principal there. So we're talking about none other than Miss Davis. Okay.
Principal Davis,
Marquita Davis. And I didn't talk a long time before bringing it home because I don't want to prolong this. I just want everybody to see who she is. And she got some accolades here recently in the newspaper. Everybody saw. Yeah, the newspaper. It was in the Horry Independent. She received a recognition from Panera Bread, I believe.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Right. So that means that when somebody like Panera Bread, which is, I want to say, just a retailer in Horry County, they saw what you're doing and what you've done. So, and they wanted to just recognize you and pay homage to you regarding your accomplishments. Let me just backtrack a minute. I'm Eric McQueen. I'm the host. And it was, of course, April D. Garner. She's our co-host. And we want to welcome everybody to our program today. And as our special guest, Miss Marquita Davis.
Yes.
Okay. So, Miss Davis, I don't know if I've given you a proper introduction or not, but I'll let you do that if you want to tell our audience about yourself. A lot of them may not know. I didn't know.
Okay. Well, I want to just say I'm very humbled and give all, glory and thanks to God for this opportunity tonight. So thank you all so much. Thank you. But I am Marquita Davis, and I'm the principal here at the greatest school on the planet, Conway Elementary School. Yes, I do strongly believe that we are the greatest school on the planet. I've been here, as I said, 18 years. I have a total this year will be 27 years in education altogether. And so I'm very just thankful and appreciative of the opportunities that I've had to serve the community and to serve students and staff, as well as parents. So it's been a thrilling, and they've all been here right here in Horry County Schools. So I'm very blessed and thankful of that.
Well, absolutely. Just let me reflect a little bit more on your recognition that you just recently got. It says that one is that you just love being able to inspire children and make them feel safe. Kind of elaborate on the safe part, if you could.
Well, the safety, in my opinion, and what I truly believe is that schools exist for kids. And and a part of, I feel that my purpose here on earth is to let students know that they're seen, they're heard, and that this is a warm and welcoming place for them to be safe, that they're not the problem, but they are the purpose to be seen and to be heard and to feel safe and want to come to school and get a good education so that they can go out and repeat and do, you know, the same things and make a difference in their community or in their world, wherever they may land, wherever life takes them. But safety is very key and very important for every student and for every staff member.
Wow. I just reflecting again back on your accomplishment here from Panera Bread. This process involved a nomination. I mean, somebody from, was that another school? I mean, another, not principal, but somebody in the school arena that nominated you for this accomplishment?
Well, they don't tell you who nominated you, but there were, I guess, a group of people who, I guess, they saw the work that that I was doing, or see the work that I'm doing, and submitted the nominations. And then you had to have people to vote. So there was a voting that took place for a month. And so it was people, you shared the word that you were nominated for this award, and people had to vote. And of course, there were other people in the running for this, other administrators that were in the running. But again, I'm very thankful and very humbled that people, recognize the work that is being done here at Conway Elementary. And it's not all about me. It's, the community. It's about the students, the staff. You all have to work together. And so in receiving this award, I see it as the family here of Conway Elementary, the school, the parents, the students, the staff, the community that have truly received this award. Not just, my name may be on the award, but it is truly for Conway Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
As we sent out the promotion, we told our viewers that they are going to be seeing the whys, WHYS of a positive school culture. Kind of enlighten us a little bit on that, if you could.
The whys of a positive school environment, I do believe, is knowing your purpose. That's one, the first thing, in knowing what your purpose is. And I believe that we're all placed on this earth to solve a problem of some sort and to make a difference. And as God has led me on this path, on this journey, one of the questions that I take away in helping me to remember and remind me of the purpose is, where do I add the greatest value? Where, and I feel that the schools that I've worked in and been a part of, where can I add the greatest value? It is truly special. Like I said, it is just a special opportunity to get to work with students and staff and the community, focusing on the things that matter the most. And sometimes our purpose, takes on lots of challenges, like, for example, the pandemic was one of them. There were a lot of things that were positive about it, negative, and we're still feeling the impacts of that. But, even amongst that uncertainty and the trauma that, we had during that time, teachers, students in our community, we still have to, think about having a healthy and a positive school culture that has to be present to help us, to move forward. And so kids want to be loved. They want to, be a part of something that makes them feel good. And as I said earlier, schools exist for kids, and for me, they're our purpose. They're not the problem, but they're why we can do what we do here on a daily basis. And then looking at relationships, I think that's another why. Why, we build relationships. They're a must. That is something that must happen when you're creating and building a school culture. And I'll be the first to say that it doesn't happen overnight or in a year or 2 years. It takes a lot of work in building those relationships. But that is another why. Why do we have relationships with our students, with our staff? Because we all matter. We have to matter to each other. And that is one thing that I want the students and the staff of Conway Elementary to know, that they do matter. That, just those check-ins with them, the interactions, whether we're celebrating big moments or small moments, with students and staff, those positive interactions are what influence a positive school culture, and they brighten your day. It's a win-win situation, and when giving them praise just for coming to school, or just giving an encouraging word, checking the temperature. Does Miss Jolly, does she need just a little word of encouragement? Those relationships mean something, and it's just helping students and staff to discover their own potential, and helping them to move forward, and not letting go, and let them know, hey, you got this, you can do this. Means so much when it comes to that why of relationships that we have to work on, and going back, it just connects with our purpose as well.
Principal Davis, you've been in education for 18 years in the Horry County school system, correct?
I've been principal here. I've been in education for a total of 27 years.
27 years. Yes. And you've been a principal at Conway Elementary for 18 of those 27. And yes. Of course, I remember you from back in the day, is because my daughter went through Conway Elementary School. And, it says a lot that you've been able to stay in the education arena for this long, especially with all of the changes and adjustments and challenges that teachers face, but also that the students face in education. And as you think back on, what things were like when you entered the educational arena 27 years ago, what do you think is like the biggest change that has taken place in education, whether it's with the students? Let's take it from the two standpoints. The biggest change in the students compared to 27 years ago. We'll start there.
The biggest change that I've seen with students from when I started back, yes, in 1995, when I started to the present day, I would say the behaviors, the behaviors of students. And again, I know and understand that, circumstances, situations have happened, things, go on day to day, but that is the severity of the behaviors has tremendously shifted, and not saying all negative, but just the behaviors for various reasons. There's a definite change there in how students act and behave when they come to school. Is different. It's very different, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, all right. And of course, I think as just a parent and someone in the community, I can see that as well when I think about how we behaved when we were in school compared to how our children and future generations have come through. Things are different. What do you think has caused that shift in behavior?
Well, there are a variety of reasons. One thing I would say is, again, from generation to generation, I believe in it taking the whole village to raise a child, and there has been somewhat of a falling away of that, where where coming up in my time, your time, that the lady down the street or right across the street could talk to the child or chastise the child, and and it was corrected. That behavior was corrected, and mom supported or dad supported, whomever, grandma, and it was handled. It was dealt with, and you could see that change of behavior. So now, with the parameters that we have, and other authorities, I should say, that get involved, that that can't be the case as it used to be, because we're limited on what we can say and what we can do with children.
Okay, so now let's shift to the teaching side, because of course now we hear more and more every day about teacher shortages and people not wanting to enter the educational arena. What do you think has changed as you compare the way teaching used to be, and as you look at how it is now? What's been the biggest shift there?
Well, it is, teaching is hard work. I mean, it is truly a hard work day to day with the number of subject areas that teachers have to teach on, on a daily basis. And so it's just difficult um, retaining teachers because it is so hard, the work that they have to put in. But the biggest thing I would say now is the pay. The salaries of teachers really is not something that is inspiring or causes teachers to want to remain there or look at that as a, because and I'll just share that, teachers here that work here are having to also work an additional job just to make ends meet. And so that salary, that pay is one thing that I've definitely seen, again, back in the day, it was, it's because of the love of teaching and and not saying that that's not the case now, because teachers still do that, but truly they're trying to figure out their livelihood. How are they going to live comfortably, in
Right.
this, with
Yeah.
with this job? And like I said, and I've seen over the years so many teachers having to pick up a second job or leaving the profession so that they can, make more money so that they can support their families. And that's one of the biggest things that I've seen over the years is just that salary, because I mean it is hard work. They take work home at night. They take work over the weekends, and then still are not compensated as they wish to be or need to be, because for all that extra time and work that they put in. So really is the salary, like I said, that I've seen that has made that shift from years back to the present.
And I think that all of the reasons you stated, be it the changes in students or the changes in teachers, are the reasons why it is critical for us to pay attention to what's going on in education, because there are so many challenges from both sides. And if you don't have teachers who are engaged or motivated to not only be in the classroom, but stay in the classroom, ultimately the students suffer, because I mean, they're in school to learn and they have to have effectiveness in the classroom coming from the teachers in order to be able to, even focus on what they're doing. And we can't dismiss the fact that a lot of times, students are coming in with a certain type of, trauma or challenge at home or challenge with their peers. And so you're right, teachers have to be more than just teachers. And I can understand why that would be, particularly daunting for teachers who are just also in their personal lives trying to make it and part, what's going on in their personal lives just to be able to get through the day. In order to teach children and guide them in the way that they need for education. And so I can imagine that it's particularly important for parents to remain engaged and to really understand what's going on. I know that, I used to be that type of parent who was, if I saw the least little thing that was happening, I was, wanting to go to the school, would go to the school, would, talk to the teachers, would set up the conferences and things like that. And I don't know that kind of thing still exists, but I know that, some of the educators that I know still, are pressing for parents to be highly involved in their children's education. And so Priscilla Fuller asked the question, what are some ways you've tried to engage parents to be involved more with their children in education? What things have been kind of effective?
Well, for example, we've had parent nights. We just recently had a parent night just to go over the academic plan of their child. This is where your child is right now. This is where we need your support. Having them to come in. Hey, let's talk one-on-one to look at. Okay, this is how Sally or Sue. This is how they're performing. These are the goals that we've set. Do you agree? What can you do? We can't, coming up with a family plan. how you can support that, your child at home as well as in school is, one that we just recently had actually, last month we held that parent night, but an academic night just to, inform parents that, hey, we need your support, we need your help, we want you, let's get Johnny, continuing him on that pathway. Even we had a pastries for parents where we invited parents in for the morning to come in to have breakfast with their child. But then if there was an opportunity for the teacher, to talk with that parent to say, we just want to let you know that, Sally is on track and is doing well, or that we need, if you can just take 15 minutes just to read with Sally at night, that can truly make a difference every day. Just taking that 15 or 20 minutes to check in and read with, Johnny, or let Johnny read with you. Those types of things. We make positive phone calls home to parents, to let them know that, hey, we're in this together. We're working and doing. So many just different things that we try to do. Having parent teacher conference nights as well to get our parents in, to let them know that, hey, we're all in this together and we've got to support and help. And even I also, every week, I send out a weekly Tigergram, just keeping parents informed of what's going on, inviting them in. We have our academic celebrations each 9 weeks. Again, another opportunity to get parents in to celebrate with their child or see who's, making improvements. And also giving an opportunity, you can call us, you can email us, you can stop by to come in at any time, because we want you here. We want you to be a part of your child's education because it is so important. And so we definitely do just a variety of things to get our parents and communicate with them to let them know that we're all on the same team together to help.
As we talk about the whys, and I know that you are addressing, the whys in terms of purpose and relationship, and I think all of that is kind of interwoven with the fact that, communication is key. That was one of the whys that you want to talk about tonight. I'd like to ask a why, and it relates to what's happening with a lot of young people today in our society. And I don't know if there's a plan in place even at the elementary school age, but why is it important for, or do you think it's important for educational institutions to place an emphasis on mental health, even for students at such a young age? What are your thoughts there?
It is a top priority. It is so important because that is one of the things coming from the pandemic that we have seen so much of, and the impact is the need for mental health and the counseling services that has truly increased. The number of referrals that we've had to provide and give and share that information with parents. It is just so key. Kids are dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of challenges that as adults, it's hard for us to deal with if we had to deal with those things. And so you can imagine a little 5-year-old or 6-year-old having to figure out, what do I do with this type of situation? I didn't sleep well. I didn't get enough sleep last night for whatever the reason may be. And how do I handle that? How do I also, know that I'm coming to school sleepy? I may come to school hungry, and also still need to function as a student, in the classroom. That is hard for a 5 or 6-year-old, or that, something, the death of a parent, and due to the pandemic or COVID, and how am I supposed to still move forward? And so our counselors here have really done a good job in helping to support the teachers and students when there is that need. When we see that, we try to immediately, right then and there, do that referral and contact, the guardian or the parent to say, we're noticing this, or we're seeing that, your child is experiencing this, and we feel that these services would be of assistance or help. And so we have a heavy caseload of the, you know, counseling and providing those services to our students, because we've seen so much of that happening in the mental health and wellness of students.
I can imagine that your teachers probably need it as well.
Yes, and staff. Yes,
teachers and staff.
Yes, they do too.
Yeah. So, the communication that you were going to talk about, what do you think has been the most effective communication format for parents? I know when we hear sometimes, well, we don't know how to reach the parents, we don't know how to reach the students. You know, you as a administrator in the schools, of course, you have different platforms and methods that you all use to reach the parents, but what seems to be the most effective? Is it just a good old-fashioned phone call, or do they respond to emails? You know, and why is it important that that communication flow or that communication stream is healthy and that it's, you know, it's moving?
Well, it's a combination, because some parents like a good old-fashioned phone call. Some like it posted on, you know, something posted on social media, or some, just like I said earlier, the weekly Tigergram, they just like getting that information all together at one time. So there's just a combination of different ways, and you have to be flexible and you know your community and what works best, and have, you know, that menu of choices for them. And I found that, you know, over the years that works best for our parents, is just having different ways. Like our classroom teachers, they use ClassTag to also communicate with parents, you know, about what's, you know, upcoming events, and communicating on how their child, and therefore that's just, you know, a platform on a cell phone, a quick text that lets that parent know that the teacher's, you know, reaching out to them to give them quick information about their child, and then the parent can text, you know, immediately back to that teacher. So, you know, it's a multiple number of ways to communicate, and parents find it very helpful. That keeps them involved, keeps them, you know, up on the up and up of what is going on. They know that they have those multiple places that they can find information. Also, you know, like I said, or they can just call the front desk and ask. You know, had that too. But I think when you're clear and you put that information there, and they know that that's, you know, a collective effort that we're sharing and communicating, that we're committed again to working together and having the common goals, and making sure that we dialogue and conversate and have that cooperation, which then creates, okay, well, you know, we know that we can communicate, we're on the same page. And that just, you know, they're accepting and growing with those. When you do have to make a phone call, or you do have to send a letter, parents know, okay, they're invested in my child and what needs to be done, and they're thinking about the whole village and everybody, making it again just a responsible, clear, and collective effort.
Have there been things that are there things that have been suggested or that parents are asking for when it comes down to education, that you're just like, you know what, I wish we could do that, but you know, what are some of the things the community is saying they want in education?
Well, I can more recess time, more playtime, you know, outside, and I wish that we could. But again, at the elementary level, we're already limited, you know, with the amount of time, because we got to get the academics in. But that is one thing over the years that parents, you know, do ask, can students have, you know, more recess time, more playtime outside? Because currently right now we have 20 minutes. They have 20 minutes of recess time. But they also get physical education, get PE time. They have 45 minutes of that. So I kind of, you know, have to say, well, they also get 45 minutes a week of PE. But that's one of the biggest things, is more physical activity outside every day.
How much time do they get for lunch?
They get roughly about 30 minutes.
30 minutes for lunch. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's long enough. You think that's long enough? 30 minutes?
Asking because how long are kids in school during the run of the day? They're in school. What time? What time's class start?
So we start at 7:30. We start unloading at 7. Kids instruction starts at 7:30, and then our day ends at 2:30.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's a full day's work for anybody's, no, really, because a lot of jobs are like 7 to 3, stuff like that, but I guess that's getting them used to the workforce, about the time they're going to be spending.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that the parents wanted more, or they
Recess.
want more. Yeah. I never realized how valuable that was until I really got older. Yes, when I was growing up, I didn't. I thought it was too much recess time. Because a lot of times I wanted to stay and study, prepare for a test or something, or a quiz I knew that was coming up. But you want to follow your peers, okay? Your peers going out in recess, and you can't follow them. So then all of a sudden you just make up your mind. Well, I'm going outside. I'm going to follow them. So forth. But just a little accolade here. I think your qualifications that they speak for themselves. And I really hope that the Horry County school system realize that they have such a gem, really. And Pearl that they have as a resource. I certainly hope they realize that. It sounds to me like your dedication is of the utmost here, and we can only go by what you're saying, and which you have no reason to say otherwise. Okay, so we think it's, but on the other hand, we do think it's important. And we're going to begin to try to do this quite a bit more on our broadcast to recognize and see who's been given accolades like yourself, okay? Because a lot of people would look around and say, "Well, it's just an elementary school principal. I mean, what can she say? Something like that. And why they're recognizing her? Why is she coming on? Something like that. But this is really one of the reasons why. I mean, you just summarize, the whys of communication, the whys of relationships and stuff like that with students, and I think some parents may not even know that those are some of the protocols that you're following. Okay, sir. And they seem to be, to me, productive. So I'm just thankful that we've got such gold and silver in our community like you. But yeah. I've gotten to know a number of the principals in the area over the years because of our summer jobs program. I don't know how we overlook Cottonwood Elementary School. I don't know. So forgive us for that. No.
Don't hold it against me.
Don't hold it against me. All right. We'll make up for it during the summer jobs when we start recruiting for summer jobs. Okay.
Okay.
You just have them ready there. We'll see if we can find something for them to do. All
right. We'll work on them. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the elementary school is open in the summer?
It is not. This year, because we're having some maintenance work done, we will not have our summer. We normally have a summer learning camp here in the district through the state. And this year we will not because of some maintenance work that'll be done here at the school this summer.
Okay. All right. So as you think about, I guess if you had a crystal ball and you could, look into the future, what would you hope to see in terms of what's going on in education, especially in Horry County?
That every student, every parent could just truly realize that education is so, there's so many opportunities for children. There are just so many opportunities now than there have ever been before. And the education is so important that if they could just be invested in their child's education and help them to get on that road, whether it be, the workforce, whether it be college, wherever it may be, but just be invested in their child. That's my biggest thing. And I try to tell parents, just be invested in your child's education. Know what's going on in their school, in the classroom, and support that and help and be a part of what is going on in their child's education. And I think that could truly help change the world of education for everybody and change our world.
All right. Well, Principal Davis, it's been a pleasure to have you with us tonight, and it's great to see you again, and continued success to you and those mighty, mighty Tigers at Conway Elementary School, the best elementary school in the world, right?
Greatest school on the planet, that's right.
The greatest school on the planet, exactly. Yeah. So, Brother Edward, this was a lot of fun. It's great to see her.
Do you tell your students that
yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir. And and each morning I go around and greet students, I greet staff as well, but every morning it is my tradition that I go around and say good morning to every class and the students. And many years ago, they came up with this little chant that some of them say, and they still say it today. Good morning, Miss Davis, you are the greatest. And I remember that, yes, and you are great too, and so is our school. So yes, we truly believe that with our heart, that CES is the greatest.
Fantastic. Oh, before we let you go, I just want to go back just one little thing, and I want to take up the time on this. You mentioned that you all have tried, or you've done at least once, to have breakfast for the parents. What was the frequency of that? Was that like once 2 months or something like that, or twice a year, or something like that?
Well, with prior to the pandemic, we had it. We would have donuts for dads or muffins for moms. We try to have that 2 or 3 times out, the year, grits for grandparents. So we'd have different opportunities. And then when, the COVID, that kind of slowed, things down. And so we're just, getting back to opening it up. And so this year we, only had it one time this year, the pastries with parents for this year. But the parent night, like I said, we just recently had that as another opportunity, and we fed, had a really good home cooked meal. That so just throughout the year, different opportunities. Right. Yes.
Too bad we didn't have that when I was growing up. I guess the resources were kind of limited during that time. But anyway, look, it's so great having you here, and I'm sure you're going to be getting more accomplishments, and we hope to have you back on at some point, maybe this year, if not this year, next year. Okay. Because it seems to me like you're going to be recognized again.
That's what you see in the crystal ball for her?
Yeah. You're going to be recognized again.
All right. Well, yes. Well, thank you so much, and continued success to you.
Thank you all. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
All right, Brother Edward. Well, it was wonderful talking to Principal Davis and seeing her again, and continues 18 years as principal. Wow. I mean, that's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
That's a long time. That's a long tenure for a principal.
It really is. It really is.
It really is. So she must be doing something good.
It must be doing something right. Exactly. Exactly. Right. So you want to take a break before we bring on our next guest, or do you want to just go right into it? You want to take a little short break?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a little short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Right back.
This is Jerome McQueen of Academics, the national movement to encourage our young people to choose STEM as career aspiration.
I had a really great biology teacher. She was nationally recognized. She got to meet President Obama.
So this year I'm working with 3D printing, actually being able to use my skills from A&T to design things on the computer and actually see them become a physical part.
All right, Brother Edward, we have another special guest with us tonight, Cheryl Moore Adamson with the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society. How are you? Yes, how are you this evening?
I am wonderful, especially seeing your beautiful faces.
Well, thank you. Thank you. On behalf of Brother Edward, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And so I'm sure you have some highlights you want to share with us this evening.
Let's not April. Let's not mention her beautiful face. All right, let's save this.
That goes without saying. That just goes without saying. Yeah.
You got to see. Look, you should see her mom. That's where the beauty comes in.
Your hair is beautiful too. That is gorgeous.
So much.
She's like,
well.
Hey, look, I earned this gray. A lady told me about 20 years ago, she saw me in the Walmart and she says, "Oh, your hair is gray." I said, "I'm old enough." I am old enough.
Badge of honor. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Well, of course, we're all smiles and grateful to God that we are able to be joyful, even in the face of grief. But the fact of the matter is that our community is in a state of grief and shock and awe at the events that have occurred as of March the 7th with the burning of Whittemore Elementary School and all that implies. So while we're able to carry on, it is very hurtful. And speaking of my mother, and people of her age who know what all we have gone through, she is devastated by this. And many people were shocked by it. And no matter who the person was that actually lit the match, we all know that the condition of the building or the way the building was cared for invited that devastation that occurred in that property. So I can start by reading you the letter that I read to City Council on yesterday during the public input, just to give us a place to start our conversation this evening. I addressed the Honorable Mayor and City Council. Last week was a devastating one for our community and the city of Conway. One of our precious historical landmarks was destroyed, and hearing that much of what remains was going to be demolished only produced more pain. The Whittemore Race Path Historical Society is committed to moving forward on this project of the revitalization of the Whittemore Elementary School property and site to bring needed cultural, historical, educational, business, and housing initiatives to our community. We ask that the city expedite the amendment to the RFP, that is request for proposal, in order that we may modify our proposal as quickly as possible for their review. As we have from the beginning, we ask that the city of Conway cooperate with our organization to make this project a reality in the nearest future. We welcome constructive feedback and any positive actions to assist us in this endeavor. We see politics as a matter of discovery of mutually beneficial ways to govern. We see politics as a matter of inspiration and hope rather than constant struggle and conflict. In the words of Andy Crouch in his seminal book, Playing God, Redeeming the Gift of Power, we see true power as creation and the truest power as resurrection. The new creation that can restore flourishing among our people groups, even when fire and destruction have done their worst. in this season of Lent, as we move expectantly towards Easter Sunday morning, let us recognize the true power, that true power always moves beyond make it so, to let us make, to let there be. And the first word, as well as the last word of the world's story, is not coercion, but creation. We know that this is a pivotal moment in which we all can do something that everyone can look upon and say, I helped to let it be. And so those were the words that I read on behalf of the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society to the mayor and to the sitting council members. You all may or may not know that on last Tuesday, whenever they voted to demolish the building because of the damage that had been done by the fire and the water, that they said that they would modify the request for proposal. So we're waiting for that, and we're asking them to expedite that so that we can give a new response, expressing what our community wants to see at that site. So I'll stop there to let you ask me some questions. I'm not hearing you, Edward.
Yeah, now you can hear me now because I was unmuted. The new request for a proposal, has it been lengthened or just modified in the same level?
It does not exist yet. They've not done it yet. So they're saying they're going to amend it because the building no longer exists in the next 2 weeks.
So what is expected? Is the expectations of this new proposal to be favorable, you think?
I have
for
no
the
idea
society.
What is in their thinking at this time. One of the things that Councilwoman Amanda Butler put forward is, of course, that they not touch the building that is not adjoined to the part that was damaged by the fire. We've asked for an opportunity for our structural engineer to come and take a look at the property before they demolish it. And we've also asked them to save the bricks. But the manner in which they're going to amend it, I have not been given any indication officially as to what that could possibly look like. But we'll respond to it whenever we get it. But we've made clear that we want to memorialize the Whittemore Elementary School, perhaps utilizing some of the bricks, and that we want to utilize the entire site. So we won't be able to react to something until we have something in our hands.
Okay, so the part that is requested to be saved and not tampered with, does that have asbestos, or has it been known to have asbestos as the part that's been torn down?
I'm not clear on that. So I would not be giving you a correct answer if I said yay or nay. Yeah. But it's a building that was built later. So there's a chance that it does not have asbestos. It was not built in 1954. I don't know what year it was built.
Was that considered, is that the same building that was considered to be an annex? They used to call it annex A and B and stuff like that.
That was over at the high school.
No, I'm not talking about that. No, it was they called it an annex just because they needed another building on the elementary school grounds.
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that.
And for sure, for our audience, I think, and you can attest to this, Cheryl, that one of the major issues of concern here is the asbestos, right? And the mitigation of asbestos, especially now since it's been exposed, highly exposed. And I think a major concern, or it should be one major concern, it should be the method that they're going to be used to finish tearing that down. I know they're going to be protecting themselves, the workers who go through that. But I think the community just has to be made aware and to make sure themselves that the rest of the surrounding community is protected.
Okay. Yeah, you've really harped on that, and I think that's a good thing, considering your background as an engineer and just, as a private citizen, to have concern for our community. They have insisted that their report shows that there is no friable or airborne asbestos around, and that the company that they hired showed that there was that the air was fine. And of course, they have to do this in cooperation with DHEC as well, I guess, as Horry County Schools, because the children play outside there. So I would think that some parent or some person in the community should voice concern, and the school district ought to raise concern as well. But it's the disturbance of the asbestos that makes it go up in the air. And now that the water and things have settled down, I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. But according to the report that we have, there's not supposed to be any in the air.
In the air. In the air. Yeah, well, that was my point. That's the point that I'm coming from, was that if they're going, it's already been disturbed by virtue of the fire happening, right? And they had
the way that an engineer explained it to me is that asbestos is like dust. So, if you come along and you disturb dust, it goes up. But if that disturbance goes away, it goes down. That's the way Michael Allen explained it to me. Actually, the architect is like, it acts like, has the same kind of principles as dust. When you go in and you start cleaning your house, the dust flies, but in a manner of time, over time, it settles down.
Okay. Well, okay. I won't comment anymore since you've given that explanation, and I do respect the expertise from your consultants and your architect and your developer, whoever you have on the staff. So
yeah. But that doesn't mean that we don't exercise the most extreme caution, as you have advised us. If we're anywhere near there, we need to have on our mask. And I support that highly.
Well, all right. Well, that's well spoken of. Okay. When I saw this incredible thing that happened when it caught a fire, I drove around there and I watched it, take place. I also saw they had some equipment that was really tearing down some of the building, and I guess to make it to the point where it was manageable, and they can kind of like walk away and leave it for a while until they come back to tear it down again. It's just, I don't want to question anybody's expertise right now, but I think, but I saw some people there with masks, with asbestos hazardous material on, clothing on. So that leaves the question, it begs the question, if they thought it was important enough for them to have protective gear on, then why not the surrounding?
Well, those were
themselves?
the asbestos consultants that were brought in, as well as one young man from the city of Conway. So if they are searching for asbestos, quite naturally, they would be geared in that way because they already know that the building has asbestos. But you will notice that none of the other city employees were geared up in any way. None of them had on masks or anything like that. But, you know, it's kind of a moot question at this time regarding that particular day. I think what was so disturbing for many of us is the claim that they needed to knock down those walls in order to get to the hot spots.
Right.
And the report from SLED arson investigation team will not be made available or be public for 2 or 3 months. And by that time, all of the evidence will be knocked down and gone. So unless somebody has some deep pockets and can afford to go in and do their own investigation, I don't know what recourse we have in that regard.
Okay, now, does the community have, you said we were in a period of grief. Now, does the community have a lot to be worried about in order to reach the point of the goal of saving at least a legacy of the school in some form?
Well, you know, we are committed, and I had heard this all my life and did not know exactly what people meant, and I was a hospice chaplain even, but nearing 71, I've heard over the years that experiencing a fire is much like experiencing a death. And I've found that to be so because the physical memories are destroyed in that regard, but it behooves us even more to hold up the banner of Whittemore Elementary School and all of our educational endeavors. So we have to work even harder. And in the midst of death, in the midst of grief, you have to allow yourself to go through all of the steps of grief. And I hope that at some point in time, we will memorialize this thing that has happened in our community in some form or another. Some people have already started bringing floral memorials out to the grounds. And perhaps it would be cathartic for us to mourn collectively in some way and have some kind of service for the loss of what was so important to so many of us. So we welcome ideas that are being generated within our organization and ideas from the community as to how we can do that. But moving forward, we want to stay as close to the plans that we had for the property as we possibly can, based on what the request for proposal allows for.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. I can't think of any right now. What you, April?
I don't. You know, I guess it's definitely a solemn occasion, and for those of us who are legacy members and who understand, you know, why it was important to preserve the history, I think that we kind of look at it as, okay, this thing has occurred, and now what is the question? Mm-hmm. Now what? And so, you know, I respect what Reverend Adamson is saying in terms of that period of mourning, as she describes it, because of the group that has been vested in this, working hard to try and meet a goal or to see some plans come to fruition, I think, my natural thoughts are kind of based on and rooted in what is the reality at this point, as far as what can even take place,
Right.
in that particular area. And, I heard you say that, you're trying to salvage the bricks and whatever it is that you can from the property. And even if it's not the type of thing that you envisioned it to be, because now you have such a major loss on the front end, I guess it was, for lack of a better term, like, what's the plan B? What do you all foresee as like the next best step? And of course, I'm sure you have already consulted with the architects and the people that you've been talking to about the original plans. What are they advising as far as like the next realistic step for this project?
Well, as a matter of fact, I mean, they're in mourning with us. This happened. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks ago. And so our plans cannot be independent of the RFP. So that is, while we may have some ideas floating around in our heads, they have to be in response to
the RFP, the original RFP.
Has to be in response to the RFP.
Okay, and I think that's important for people to know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we can't just out of the blue necessarily come up with something that does not fit what the city is requesting. So that's where we are at this moment. We're in a holding pattern. But I did in our Bible study tonight, one of the statements that was made is that God is never out of options.
That's true.
And while we may feel that, we're pressed against the wall, we're in a corner, we have nothing else to gain, or all is lost, we have to say that God is never out of options. And that is what we're going to stand on, and we're going to look for him to show us what those options can be, and we will act on those as he reveals them to us. And so we do need your support. If you would express your support by putting a floral memorial offering at the site, as Africans do, even pour libations or whatever you would like to do to express your loss, we certainly would honor that. We also would like for you to join us at the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society. Our website is whittemorehistorical.org, where you can join as a member or donate. And then I must say that the outpouring of horror and grief by persons who were never the least bit affected by what has gone on. I heard many people express how sorrowful they were at what has occurred. So we just have to keep moving toward an end. We had a vision, and we hope that the response that we're able to give this next time is in keeping with the vision that we originally had, but it will be minus that building. And so we need people's prayers and encouragement and ideas and joining us in what is still a fight. And, I guess that is what is so challenging in the work of being a citizen in this community, or being an African American particularly, is that none of our gains are ever easy. And we can't rest. Folk won't let us rest. Folk won't let us be great without a fight. So fight we must, and we just continue.
That's right.
Okay. So thank you all for giving me the opportunity to say a few words to the community and to encourage people. God is not out of options. We may be limited, but God is not out of options.
Since we're on the word Whittemore, April, the deadline for the scholarship is gone by, isn't it?
No, it's not. It was actually the end of this month, March 31st, but we have extended it to April 15th.
April 15th. Okay.
To give, parents and students more time to complete the application. Spring break and a few other things are probably kind of like on the front burners for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Basketball, the March Madness, Reverend Adamson, and all kinds of stuff. So we have extended to April 15th and would love for any parents watching to visit the Whittemore Alumni Association website. You will find the complete application on the website. Unless you need a paper copy, you do not have to complete a paper copy. You can do it all online, and we will receive your student's application. Of course, they will need to submit their transcripts, and there's very clear information and instructions on how they can submit the applications. It does involve them talking to the guidance counselors at their schools, and the guidance counselor will then forward the transcripts to us, and it works. We have some applications, and it seems to be a pretty easy process for everyone. And but if you have any questions, you can certainly be in touch with us through our Facebook site. Our Facebook page. You can go to the website and send us a message, or you can get in touch with me, and I will relay that message to the scholarship committee. But we encourage everyone, because this is a part of the Whittemore heritage and the Whittemore legacy. Right. We encourage anyone who is connected to the Whittemore alums or Whittemore graduates as a descendant of a Whittemore alumni or graduate to apply for this scholarship. There's no reason to leave money on the table when the Whittemore community is trying to support your educational endeavors. And so, and every little bit helps. So, don't ever think that, okay, this scholarship is not big enough. That is kind of crazy thinking, in my opinion. When I was in school, Reverend Adamson, I didn't care if it was $25 somebody was passing me. That was like $1 million when I was at USC. Okay.
Look here. You missed our era. I had a friend named Jack Bellamy. He became a physician. He graduated from MUSC. But one of the deacons at my church was a janitor in the Russell House.
Oh,
where the bookstore was.
Look, you don't have to say anymore. There you go. I already know. You don't even have to say. You don't even have to say. I already know. The Rams in the bush, right? The Rams in the bush.
So look back and wonder how we got over.
How we got over. That's right.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the Ram in the bush.
I mean, back in the day, cost up to $200.
Yes, ma'am.
Guess what? That was 50 years ago.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And you know what? It's amazing how much the cost of an education has gone up at our alma mater. And I think back on those days. And so you had them, I had them. And I know the young people coming up now, they will also have them, whether they want to believe it or not. And I know things are different for them as far as access to things. But, I think those experiences kept us humble and made us appreciate what we went through in order to get our degrees, to earn our degrees.
Yes,
and and because we know that, I think that's the reason why we give, and we try to make sure that those students coming behind us don't have to struggle as hard. You really don't have to struggle as hard. There's plenty of money out there. There's a number of scholarships that are available, and from various Whittemore classes. So, excuse me, apply for everything that's out there. There's nothing written that says you cannot apply for everything that is out there. And if you deserve the money, you will certainly be awarded the money. Every scholarship has its own criteria. Whittemore Alumni Scholarship certainly has its criteria, and all of that information is on the website as well. And so, I'd like to, if we were talking about parents' involvement in their child's education a little earlier with Principal Davis, this parents is where you can really get involved, because if we leave it to the students, they're either going to, not follow through, they're going to miss the deadline, they don't understand some of the things that they may have to, they still need guidance. They need guidance even beyond graduation. And don't think just because, it's their first year in college, they've got it all figured out, or they should be able to handle it. Your student needs that guidance all the way through those 4 years of college, and especially into that first year when they're adjusting, especially if they're away from home. And certainly a financial burden or challenge is something that hopefully will be the last thing on their minds, worrying about paying tuition or their room and board or how to eat. Because, I don't know if you've been to USC lately, but the Russell House certainly looks different from when we were there.
Yeah, I hadn't been there lately, but guess what? I'm going back in November because we'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of our chapter, and I am a golden girl.
Awesome.
Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Congratulations.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
To think that we made these decisions at the age that we did that have lifelong consequences.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But by the grace of God, we made some good decisions.
Yes, ma'am. And shouts out to Don Staley and those Lady Gamecocks.
Look here, I live with one of Don's boyfriends here,
You might as well just let it go.
Hey.
Just share it. Go ahead and share it.
That's right.
Well, they're doing a tremendous job, and Dawn is. She's truly the GOAT. She's truly the GOAT.
Class act. Do you not know that she went into the Norfolk State locker room the other night to welcome those young women?
Yep. Yeah, that's a class act.
Yes, it's a class act. Yes,
dynamite. I'm telling you. So shouts out to them. But the scholarship is out there. Make sure you apply, and if you have any questions, just let us know. So Oh, and Brother Edward, we will have President Anna Staley, president of the Whittemore Alumni Association, on in another week or two to talk about the scholarship and to give more guidance on applying, and also, some of the things that are going on with the Alumni Association to encourage mentoring for the students and also alumni engagement. So lots of work being done in the Whittemore community, the Historic Society doing their thing, the Alumni Association doing their thing, and
there's a lot going on. Okay, you can't say you can't say nothing is happening in Conway. You can't say nothing is happening in Conway.
That's for sure. And
but let me reflect on your AKAs. Okay, they just opened up their credit union.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Have you all heard about that? They just established a credit union. It's for members only, but there are thousands of members. That's enough to support that credit union. But I thought that was fantastic, and we had it in the latest edition of the magazine of what they did. Kudos to them. That's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the remarkable thing about what can happen in an organization like that, you're talking about institution building, and it's hard to establish an institution, but it's even harder to maintain one and have forward momentum. But what impact that will have of them starting that is that the members themselves will say, well, we can do this internationally. We can do it in Conway.
Absolutely.
And of course, the other members of the Divine Nine will say, well, if they can do it, we can do it too.
Absolutely.
It has such broad impact. And
really?
I think we have great influence on each other, and I think that's the beauty of our community, that we can support each other. We can be on the right road, headed in the right direction, headed in the same direction, and we can do our work in our own lane, and then we can pull off to the rest stop and have a powwow and talk about it, get back on the road. That this is a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was just great. That took me for the whole month when I saw that. I'm saying, wow. Now, hopefully other fraternities and sororities can kind of feed off of that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Well, thank y'all again.
All right. Thank you.
All right. God bless you now.
All right. So, Brother Edward, we've had an amazing broadcast, and it's some great information from Principal Maquita Davis of Conway Elementary School, and then Reverend Cheryl Moore Adamson from the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society. And so we're going to do it again next week. We'll do it again next week, same time, 7 p.m. right here on Facebook or on YouTube. And we'd like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in and sticking with us through an hour and a half of programming. We got to figure out how to get this thing to an hour, Brother Edward. Sometimes it's too good to stop, right?
That's well, I saw you being so attentive. I said, I won't say anything. I'll let April just see this through. So
we're good. We're good.
Yeah. It was an hour and a half, but I think it was worth it. We don't do this often. Okay, go over like that. So, but if you all have serious topics like this to our viewers, we'll be flexible in that regard, and maybe go 5 or 10 minutes over our time. Okay,
we don't have a problem with it. That's right. So,
all right.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and we hope that you continue to have a great week. I hope this weather figures out what it wants to do. 1 minute we're cold. Today we were cold this morning, and it got a little warm, and I saw people out walking and trying to get in the sunshine. And I think we have some more cold weather coming in. The flowers don't know what to do. So hopefully with this being the first day of spring, the first full day of spring. Spring came in 5 p.m. yesterday. And this was the first full day of spring. So hopefully it'll start to feel like it.
Absolutely.
All right.
So until next week.
Until next week, Brother Edward.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host, Edward McQueen and April Garner.